Yeah, it's the journey, man. Cue in the Miley Cyrus, song about the climb or something like that.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something. She licks a sledgehammer.
As we all want to do.
Yeah, I know. I saw that video and I was like, okay, something just unlocked. And it wasn't Billy Ray.
I have a fetish I was unaware of that I had before this video started.
Suddenly, I'm going to take Triple H's performances in WWE way more seriously with that sledgehammer.
Exactly. Like, fast forward through this, all right? Or it's going to get weird at guys' night.
I'm unloading the meat. I'm loading the meat. I'm unloading the meat. I'm loading the meat. I'm unloading the meat. I'm loading the meat. I'm unloading the meat. I don't even know what it means, what it is, what it is, what it is, what it is, what it is. I'm unloading the meat. I'm loading the meat. I'm unloading the meat. I'm loading the meat.
All right, guys, welcome to Unloading Meat. We are doing a reshoot. Yes, a dreaded reshoot. We had a fantabulous guest last time, but unfortunately, due to hotel Wi-Fi and some other hijinks, we had to do a reshoot. But I am so excited to have this guest on. Please welcome the one, the only, Ryan Niemiller. What's up, Ryan?
I'm just letting you know I am phoning this one in. I gave you all the energy I could on the last one. I did the best I could. I can't recapture that magic. I'm good for one of those a month. That was you got it. So this one's gonna be very droll and uninteresting.
Well, I thought about chopping it up and making it black and white and do like a silent film with it.
I was gonna say, yeah, it was very film noir already, with just like the voice repeating in my head, and there was a lot of there was a lot of cinematics to it, but yeah, instead you're just gonna get boring ass. I'm tired.
We can just blame the Tulsa Hilton, or
yeah, that is, I blame most of my problems on Tulsa in some way.
Yeah,
yeah, whether it's their hotels, whether it's their grocery stores, their comedy clubs, their airport. They've ruined my life in so many ways over the years. So
see, I just go one further, and I just use the scapegoat of Sylvester Stallone. I just blame him for everything now.
That is also what was he? What was that show? The King of Tulsa?
Yeah, Tulsa King.
Tulsa King. That's right.
Yeah,
I need to speak to the manager of Tulsa, which is Sylvester Stallone. I do believe.
Hey, I mean, as long as there's not a height requirement, I think he'll be okay.
Perfect. How we doing?
Yeah, we're doing good. So how you been, man? You're home now?
I am home. Yeah, in a couple. Again, I know you don't put these up real time, so this will sound like time traveling a little bit. But in a couple days, we're going back to Indiana for a couple weeks to see my side of the family, and we're flying with our son.
Nice.
Which we've flown with him for one other trip, but he was much younger, so he was 7 months. Which I know you have kids, you know that 7 months is much easier to wrangle. Then now he is 14 months, and he can walk, and he can, he can show his displeasure in more pointed and direct ways. So we're a little nervous about that, but we learned some lessons from last time. We way overpacked the first time. The first time you fly with a kid, you think you need to basically bring everything that child owns.
Yeah.
And then we are like, oh, we don't need most of this stuff.
Just in case of any kind of natural disaster, any kind of if they didn't make it to the bathroom on time or something, like, man, you got to have multiple time changes of clothes. I'm used to it too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had all that. We packed like 10 towels, like every spoon that like all this ridiculous stuff. And well, I mean, because like we have to feed the guys, so we didn't know like. But
I'm glad that you're a good parent. You feed your child.
I know, like upwards and including 3 times a day. to quote an old Simpsons quote, "This is the type of baby you have to feed every day, Jared." All right. But it does get a little easier. We didn't really have the forethought on this. We were just freaking out so much the last time. But we are staying at my sister's house.
Nice.
So we do have better access to a kitchen and. And last time too, like, I don't know why we didn't think of this. We did stuff like we packed his entire need of diapers for the entire time we were there. Instead of like, there's a Target in Indianapolis. we could just buy some of the stuff there.
But those are foreign diapers. You don't know if they're the ones that you have local.
Exactly. Yeah. In Indiana, the diapers he shits counterclockwise instead of clockwise. That thing. So stuff like that we just didn't like think in the time. So like so much of our like space was filled up with like we brought an entire thing of diapers from here, and like all it's like no, just you bring enough for the plane, and then you just buy some shit when you get there.
I guess if it crashes, you have a flotation device or something like.
Yeah, basically, yeah. sew them together. I can wear those diapers.
Well, let me ask you: are you the kind of parents that are easily embarrassed if your kids start doing something like out in public or anything like that, or you just go with the flow?
We don't know yet, because generally speaking, like we take him out to like restaurants and stuff here, but like he's, you know, he gets to eat, and you know, he's very like, you know, he's very focused on things, and he likes being in new places like that. The first 15 minutes of being on the plane, he's going to be, oh, ooh.
Yeah.
But this flight is not 15 minutes long. It's
check out the 3 little fans that are up top.
Yeah. So we have a general parenting philosophy that we try to adhere to as strictly as possible. Is that like we understand that like people with kids, you know, kids are allowed to be in public. They're allowed to do things, and kids don't always act as they should in public. But I know. But our philosophy is our kid should not be anyone else's problem. So I have an understanding of people's, you know, kids are going to cry on a plane. That's fine.
Yeah.
If I see you, if you have your kids on a plane and they're crying, and I see you attempting to handle the situation, I will never get mad at you. Because, you know, you're doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
Kids are fucking assholes sometimes.
Shut up and watch Balto.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kids are dicks, man. That's just what they do. They act up. But if you're just letting your kid run around and be a pain in the ass and not paying attention, go fuck yourself. Take your kid home. I will. Yeah. Then I'm never a problem. So our view is like we want to minimize the amount that because we're the ones that decided to have a kid, not you, not anyone else on that plane. So it's our responsibility to try to calm him down and take care of him.
You ever been to a movie theater where the parents just let the kids run wild?
Yeah, that's the worst.
They're just out in the front aisle, just running, just playing in the theater.
I don't advocate this lightly, but I hope those kids get kidnapped. I sincerely hope they get kidnapped.
I mean, it's right in the name.
Yeah.
I mean, you could lure them in, just say, hey, you want a nap? And then you don't have to tell them the first part.
Yeah, done. A kidnap.
Yeah. Just take this chloroform. We're not advocating that on the podcast. No,
not at all. Not at all. I do not have any outstanding warrants anywhere.
Yeah, just in, you know, Tulsa. No, that's why you left so quick.
Yeah, but Tulsa doesn't count. Nobody cares about Tulsa. Let's be honest.
Yeah, thanks, Sly. They filmed Tulsa King for like one day here, and then the rest is like Oklahoma City and Atlanta.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Just enough to get those establishing shots that this technically is Tulsa.
Yep.
Yeah. That's my my wife's. It's her biggest pet peeve and becomes my biggest pet peeve when I'm watching anything with her. So she's from Southern California originally.
Okay.
So every time that she's watching a TV show that's meant to be somewhere, she's always like, "No, that's in Pasadena. No, that's in," like, she knows exactly where in LA it actually is filmed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it's just, can we just pretend that it's in Scranton, Pennsylvania? It's The Office. Like, she's like, "No, I recognize that street right there. That's right down there. I once bought a purse at the store down the street there." Like, she's just so good at that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just like, all right, honey, can we save it till after the show, please?
Just let me enjoy it. Just let me enjoy it for 5 seconds.
Yeah, in the moment. So I'm sure there's some people in Tulsa who are doing that too. If they try to watch it, they're like, "Wait a minute, that ain't Tulsa."
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much how the entire series goes. I mean, that's pretty much how we all do. I mean, the only series that's really gotten it right is Reservation Dogs. And like because it's made by local people and they kind of just nailed the atmosphere.
Right.
We're all addicted to Sonic.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. There's a Sonic
but both the hot dog and the hedgehog. Weirdly enough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Subscribe to Paramount Plus. No.
Yeah.
Cheap plug. Knuckles now available. That's the weirdest part is like I watched Knuckles recently with my daughter who's 7. And I recommend not doing what I do. And I was, you know, going through HBO Max recently and just kind of watching some old shows I hadn't really watched all the way. Started watching The Wire with Idris Elba, who's also Knuckles. So watching both those shows at the same time kind of fucks with your head a little bit.
Yeah, you got to leave some space in there.
Yeah.
It's like binge watching Full House and then also watching Bob Saget's comedy.
Yeah.
Like he's allowed to be both things, but it does mind fuck you in the moment.
And see, everybody always brings up like Full House is the thing that like kind of lured them into thinking Bob Saget was just like PG and clean. I'll go one further. I think it was America's Funniest Home Videos because that was Bob Saget playing himself, and we got to see him be clean.
Yeah. It was a combo, and it's a thing I experienced that not nearly to the degree because I was not as successful as Bob Saget, but with America's Got Talent, you get a little bit of that too. Like Like if you're not an idiot, you understand that like, oh yeah, if you're hired to be on a family-friendly show, of course you're not saying cunt.
Yeah.
You know, like duh.
Hold on, let me take a note real quick.
Yeah,
Don't say cunt.
Yeah, I'm
Got
here
it.
to any aspiring comedians, listen up, all right? But like, you know, like on AGT, I would get that too, because like I had done comedy for 12, 13 years before I got on the show, and I'm an old trailer park kid. I try not to be vulgar, but you live in a trailer park, you talk a certain way. Sometimes you get excited, you're gonna say fuck, you're gonna say, this fucking guy, this, whatever.
Yeah.
So then when people would see me on AGT, and that was the first time they saw me, obviously that's a show on NBC on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Of course you're not being filthy on there. That's not what the show is.
Yeah.
But then they would come see me live, and I'm a little bit, on myself there when I'm doing stuff, and they're like, oh, you lied to us. I can't believe you changed. And I was like, yeah, I changed to try to win $1 million. I didn't win $1 million.
Yeah.
And now I'm at the Looney Bin in Tulsa, like,
Yeah.
And I love the Looney Bin in Tulsa, but if you're going there expecting good, clean Christian comedy all the time, you didn't do your research. That's just the nature of what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I went down to Granbury, Texas, like 3 weeks ago for a comedy competition. Drove down, it was like 8 hours, something like that. It was fun. Had a road trip with some comics, and I went down there. And my set went all right, I made the mistake of doing a few school shooting jokes 30 miles north of Uvalde.
Yeah, maybe not your.
Found that out the hard way a little bit, but I still got more laughs than the guy that decided to devote his entire set to shitting on Whataburger.
Well, that's just a mistake. And
like he just started and he was like, I'm from California, and the In-N-Outs are way better there. And already they were like, well, yeah, we don't really give a fuck about In-N-Out in Texas. And then as soon as he said Whataburger, like, you saw so many old men just go, like, fuck this guy.
Yeah,
like getting visibly upset.
I do feel, and I don't know who you're talking about as far as the comment goes, but just I do not say this. But I do not say this to be diminishing of you or your friends or where you're at, but I know you're not that far in comedy.
Yeah.
So what happens a lot of times with people like this is like they'll see somebody who's been doing this a long time, who's very successful, go into a hostile environment and do the jokes about the thing and make it work. So then your buddy, who probably has been doing comedy, I'm guessing around the same time as you have, goes in there thinking like, it'd be really funny if I go in there and fuck with him about Whataburger, but he's not quite good enough at comedy yet to pull that off, and it backfires in his face.
It's kind of like going in wrestling, I would say, like you're not over yet. Like,
yeah, basically, because I mean, if you want to extrapolate this a little bit more to talking shop a bit, I don't think there's any material that is off limits, no matter what the topic is. Like even your school shooting stuff, you can do that down there, but you have to be skilled enough to pull it off. There's a very fine line between doing like edgy, offensive jokes, and just being edgy and offensive.
Yeah,
they still have to be funnier than they are terrible. But you can talk about whatever you want. That's the thing that some people get like, oh, you can't talk about anything. You can literally talk about everything. Most people aren't good enough to get away with it.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Like people are allowed to be offended by whatever they want. You don't get just because you do comedy, that's not like this magic shield that you now get to say the most fucked up shit ever and no one is ever allowed to say anything to you. No, people can be like I've always done that. People, it's not, I don't know your history, I don't know your triggers, I don't know what you've been through. It's not my job to tell you that you're wrong, that you shouldn't be offended by something. It's my job to make you laugh. And if I'm telling a joke and nobody's laughing and everyone's offended, it's a bad joke. It has nothing to do with free speech or censorship. It just means it's a bad joke. At the end of the day, you're supposed to laugh. Yeah. And if all I've done is piss you off, I didn't do my job right. Doesn't matter what the context was.
Yeah, I chalk it up to like I try to be a student of the game. So like I study and I'm like, listening to podcasts, taking notes on like different comedians, just trying to learn. And like Jeselnik said it on a podcast, I think like a month or two ago. He said like the trick is kind of like magic. Like it's not to say the most offensive joke or whatever, it's to get away with it. Like if you didn't get away with it, you didn't do your job right.
Because saying offensive stuff, just that alone is easy.
Yeah.
That's so simple. Yeah, you know how easy it is to go on stage and piss everybody off? That's like the easiest thing in the world to do. The real magic, like he says, is like somehow getting people to laugh at that anyway.
Yeah.
Like that's where the magic is. It's not just saying and a lot of times, and especially, I was guilty of it too. Early on, you want to push these boundaries and see what you can get away, and you get these false things like, oh, you hear so many douchebags like, oh, comedians are the last true truth tellers. We can say whatever we want. It's like, no,
Yeah, brother.
No. Dave Chappelle can say whatever he wants. You're an open micer in Tulsa. You need to earn your place before you get there. You
got to learn boundaries.
Exactly, and I got that. Like, I'm, I would say on paper, I'm fairly successful in this business. I still can't go up there and say whatever the hell I want with no pushback or no whatever. It's all part of the game, part of learning and part of progressing and growing.
Yeah, it's the journey, man. Cue in the Miley Cyrus, song about the climb or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Something. She licks a sledgehammer.
As we all want to do.
Yeah, I know. I saw that video and I was like, okay, something just unlocked. And it wasn't Billy Ray.
I have a fetish I was unaware of that I had before this video started.
Suddenly, I'm going to take Triple H's performances in WWE way more seriously with that sledgehammer.
Exactly. Like, fast forward through this, all right? Or it's going to get weird at guys' night.
Something about the game. I don't know. I'll play it. So how you been, man? You're back home now. Where were you just at?
I was in Pennsylvania last weekend.
Nice. Did it go good?
It went fine. The shows were fine. It's I'm at the stage of now my career where the shine of the apple from doing AGT is off a little bit now. Like, obviously, it's always a good credit and milestone to have that I can always say that I did.
Yeah.
But comedy in 2024 is a little different now. It's about algorithms and that type of stuff. So that's what I'm trying to learn or relearn right now. So it's the shows are fine. Like my live shows I'm very comfortable with where my set is. It's just getting people to see that I'm in those places.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's what comedy is. It's a very interesting shift. And I'm 18 years in. That's not nothing, but like just how it was when I started in 2006 versus now. 2006, you were getting a little bit of that. That was kind of like when MySpace was still big for that. Like that's how Dane Cook blew up. He was one of the first guys to figure out, that kind of marketing. That's where things were going. But still, at that time when I started, you could do really well if you were just like, okay, I performed at this club, I crushed. The people who are there are going to now pay attention and remember, like, oh, I need to look for this guy the next time he's here. And we're going to tell our friends. And it just kind of builds organically. Now it's, what have you done for me lately? I saw a clip on TikTok and you were funny, so I went and saw you. I saw you were in my town. Great. Oh, I paid for the ads so that people could see my clip to know that I was going to be in Tulsa. And now they came out. So it's like, it's a thing where it's like, I can sit here and complain about how, oh, the business changed and in the good old days, but like, no, it's just things evolve and you gotta figure out the new way to do things or you get left behind. And I'm in the figuring out how to do things stage.
It's like the Darwinism thing. You gotta adapt.
Yeah. It's 100%. You
evolve and adapt.
Yeah. You can be pissy about it. Like I can, I can tie it back into the, you can't say anything anymore. Like, yeah, you can be mad that you can't say tranny anymore or whatever joke that is so important to you that you have to say.
I'm just an automotive technician. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but like, or like you can be pissed that people are like upset about it, or you can realize that like, the world changes. What is offensive and acceptable changes, and you can adapt to that. Or you can be the dude who still says outdated slurs and not get work. It's about, just changing with the times while the times are changing.
It's like, just watch the first 10 seasons of South Park compared to like current South Park, and like they drop the F word like every other bit. It's just times change. They adapt.
Yeah, things are changing. Things are more acceptable. Certain things are not acceptable anymore. Like it's how the world's always been.
Yeah,
it is 100% how it's always been. This isn't like a new concept.
Yeah,
and people always fight it. That's why there's always so much. In the good old days, like that. This isn't meant to be a hard political stance, but that's where this like "Make America Great Again" stuff kind of comes from. It's like, I'm scared that the world's different than what it was 30 years ago, so I want 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But
And
they
it's
think
like,
this is like, they think it's like a new and unique thing that like no one's ever experienced. Like,
Yeah.
no, everyone wants things to be like when they were a kid. That's how the world works. But that's not also how the world works. You know.
well, it's like people get mad. And they're like, "You're moving the goalpost," and it's like, well, who told you to keep track of the score? Like,
Yeah. Like,
it's like things have to adapt, things have to change. Like, don't be mad at it, adapt with it. Like,
and things are what they are. Like I said,
Yeah.
you can be. I can be. I hate the fact that I have to figure out TikTok. That is the most unpleasant thought ever for me. But I can be
Thanks,
pissed about
China.
it. Yeah, I can be pissed about it, or I can make money. You know, and if that's what I need to do to make money, I'm gonna try to figure it out.
I mean, has it been successful yet? I mean, are you still working on it?
I'm still working on it. I'm still in the early stages. And I
Yeah.
mean, part of it's having a kid now that takes up a lot of my hours. As you know, you were this is not meant to throw shade, but you were a little late getting in here because you had shit to deal with your kids. You know,
It's
like
true.
it's part of it.
Well, I dropped her off at my ex-wife's just because I knew, like, yeah, I could put on a movie in the other room or something like that. But if I'm having an interview or something like that, every like 15 minutes, hey dad, I'm like, I'll just let you go hang out with your mom for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Like, you know, for instance, I'm this is probably getting too deep, but fuck it, we're talking here.
Yeah.
I've been still looking for a new therapist because I could not find anyone that could see me when I didn't have my son. You know, because like, you know, I'm able to do teletherapy, which is that's a great thing that technology lets you do. You can just do it from your house and do Zoom style, and it's great. But like, the only times I could find anyone that could see me would be when my wife is at work and I'm watching my son.
Yeah.
And I love my son, but you can't like get into like the deep core of self-healing when like you're like, hey, can you hold on 5 minutes? My son just shit his brains out. I gotta go. You know, like you can't like focus on that way. You know, kids are they're the best, but they're not the best for your time management and you're trying to get things done.
You know, like my 7-year-old came in like, Dad, can you help my Netflix? I'm like, okay. And I go in there like, how did you get your TV in Japanese? Like, how? Like, I'm actually just shocked. Like, I didn't even know there's a button configuration or a button combo you could do that just automatically sets the like the Japanese. I had to unplug the TV and reprogram it.
There is something beautiful and highly annoying about like a child's inclination to just try shit.
Yeah.
And then when they've fucked it up to the point where they can't do anything anymore, then be like, hey dad, can you like this is a much lower stakes version of that. But we have these ceiling fans that we've bought like 4 of them because we were like and they have like remote controls. And my son, he like his favorite thing in the world is ceiling fans right now. He loves the fans. And he always wants the remotes.
Yeah.
And he just starts pushing shit. And we're like, wait, why is it? How did you get it to go backwards? Like, I didn't even know that was an option. What did you do? What magic button combination did you hit? And he's just like, ah.
Well, you said earlier he shits in, you know, counterclockwise.
That's probably what it is, man. Yeah. God, now because like it goes the other way, and that makes the heat come in the place, and then that makes it stankier in there. Because my son's already shitting at a 4th grade level. He's impressive. He's advanced. I don't.
Are you grading on a curve?
I know people tend to brag about their kids a lot, but my baby might shit better than your kids do. I'm just saying.
I mean, he has nothing on me. I have no gallbladder. Okay, it's an express lane.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, if you need to leave during the middle of this, I'll just vamp during the time.
No, it's okay. I got a bucket right here.
Oh, even better. Perfect.
Yeah.
I do too. But
just well, you can probably smell Tulsa from there.
That is very true. I have a bucket here too, but it's just because I'm a lazy nerd. It's not because of gallbladder things. It's just if you get into a big gaming session, you know how it is. You're not gonna.
I was gonna say your setups. I mean, both of our setups are kind of like that scene in South Park where they're playing Warcraft. Like, Mom, bathroom.
Yeah, a little bit.
I was saying, like, what do you got back there? I see some classic turtles.
Yeah, it's a mess. Like this is something I wouldn't even like. It's just what happens to be back there. So got some turtles. There's some GI Joes and wrestling figures back there. The floor is just covered in stuff. I need to upgrade this room. I need basically shelves like you have in the background. I need I need to utilize the top space.
Yeah. So
over here I have a couple of this is all video game stuff to this side. I have another one. So they're like, I don't know, 4 foot, 5 foot tall shelves with video game stuff. I have 2 here, got 1 over here, 1 in this closet, 2 in the downstairs closet. I need to figure out how to utilize the upper space. I might have to do some custom build stuff.
Yeah.
So right now I'm kind of in the middle, because going forward, I want to be able to produce more content at home, and part of that, it's another thing that like I don't care about personally, but if my setup looks like this in the back of videos, it's going to turn some people off because it just looks messy. It looks like there's just stuff stacked. It's whatever. That's part of the aesthetic. You got to get good lighting. You have to have a good background. You have to have something interesting for people to see. So that's what I'm in the stage of looking. Yeah. Like I said, like, you know, some
just
people
don't turn it into an obsession. Like you saw the up top, I have all those. You can see.
Yeah, you got a lot going on there.
Yeah, there's my AEW section and Transformers. Like we got the whole studio in here. That's just, I mean, it's a whole room in my house that I built into a separate studio just for this. Like this is my baby. Like, yes, my stand-up is something I'm trying, and I'm still a baby comic to it. I'm new to it, you know that. But like, I wanted to have this as a foundation to build with it while I'm trying to get going.
Right. I mean, it all helps. It all ties in together. Like, it's very hard to be just one thing if you're trying to do this.
Yeah. Especially in this days and age where with attention spans, like you said it yourself, what have you done for me lately on TikTok and stuff like that? It depends on, are you kind of relevant in the pop culture sphere for them, or, are you popping up in their feeds lately? Stuff like that. So trying to diversify and have different projects going online is what I'm trying to do now.
Yeah. And also just realizing how to either tie that together or how niche some audiences are, cause like, I'm, still known enough in the AGT sphere.
Yeah.
But like for a while, and this is still something I want to do, I was trying to do some Twitch streaming as well. Those things do not connect.
Yeah.
At all. I have a lot of fans like on social media who are like, oh, we really loved you on AGT. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to be playing some video games on Twitch. You want to check it out? God, no, that doesn't sound interesting at all.
Yeah.
So it's like everything is, as a consumer of media, I love how specialized things can be, that like, if you're into something really nerdy, you can find a podcast, a Twitch streamer, whatever that focuses on that. But it also makes it tough. If you're trying to build, it's hard to find those audiences that are into that very specific thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't always cross over,
Yeah.
Some people just want to see stand up and they do not care about that I'm into video games and wrestling and whatever, like that doesn't interest them. They just tell the jokes, tell your dick jokes, and then we'll move on. That's all I want.
Well, it's like I'm kind of running into that right now with the podcast, because like I'm filming this today. Tomorrow I have an episode going out that's 3 hours with Sam Stackhouse from GCW, a wrestler, and then I'm also tomorrow afternoon recording an interview with a guy named Shartimus Prime, who is a famous toy reviewer and has like almost 1 million subscribers, and like he's just into toys and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna try to dabble into everybody and just talk to a few different people and just put it on the channel and just trying to make it, just trying to do different things and see what bites, what people like to.
Yeah, what actually sticks, and that's what so much of this is. I think that's why it's so frustrating. It's really hard to find this like template that like, oh, if you do this, it'll work.
Yeah,
because some of the stuff that like that, again, this is probably gonna be a dated reference by the time you put this up. But look, my wife and I were having this conversation, and I have no strong opinions either way, because people can think what's funny is funny. Yeah. But like, why did the Hawk Tua girl get so popular so fast? Like, it's kind of funny, but like, what made that resonate? And one of my jokes not resonate.
Yeah.
And that's not coming from a place of jealousy or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's just like, who could have predicted? Who looked at that video and I was like, I bet this is going to become a pop culture phenomenon.
Yeah.
Like, no, it was just a random thing that for whatever reason, lightning struck and it became a thing. So that's the other thing that's so frustrating about this. You can plan and put in the work and spend literal hundreds of hours working on something. And now, like, what's going to get famous? Some drunk girl on the streets of Nashville says a funny thing, and that's the biggest thing in the world.
Yep. And also, it's like, that's kind of the catch-22 of it too. Is like you said, you can't plan for it, you can't organize what's gonna be viral, what's gonna pop off. But at the same time, as soon as that one thing does, nobody can replicate it or do that exact thing because it's already been taken by that Hawk Tua girl, or or whatever we're talking about. Like, it's already been filled.
Yeah, and they're gonna try to.
Yeah,
and it's not gonna work. And so like. That's always as a consumer of media, that's always like frustrating for me, and it can be tough because like it makes me hate the original thing. Because then now, like, an example I was using comedy is like, oh, God, I don't even know how to say this without sounding racist, but I swear my point is like, it's nothing against like, I don't find Richard Pryor funny because I've seen 1,000 black comics following him basically try to do an impression of him that wasn't nearly as good.
Yeah.
But because of them, because of all the bad impressions, it makes me hate the original.
It's the Matrix bullet time thing when he slows down and dodges the bullets.
Yeah, 100%. Like
then it becomes it's in every single thing afterward, and you're like, fuck the Matrix.
I can't stand this movie anymore. Yeah, it's like, that's why it's always hard to like create something original. People are excited because a lot of people, they just want the parody.
Yeah.
That's all they want.
Yeah.
And okay. I don't want to make the parody though.
It almost comes into that thing of that argument we always have is like, is it the truth or perception that's more valuable? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, we can have the original or we can have this thing, but then you're gonna have the perception of what the actual thing is. And that's what's gonna be in the pop culture and what people are gonna remember. It's like people say, like, you know, what was your favorite? People have like, what's your favorite movie? And certain people will say, well, oh, I have this person, you know, Pulp Fiction. Okay, well, do you love the whole movie or do you like just certain scenes of it? Because certain scenes resonated to you and that's what you remember because something moves you a certain way. And now that's your favorite movie, but not the entire 2-hour movie is your favorite movie.
Yeah, possibly. And that's always a tough thing to discern. I feel a good, you know, this is going to be, I think, relevant to you and I because we're both this kind of nerd.
Yeah.
But it's the people who talk about, oh, I missed the Attitude Era. Go back and watch the Attitude Era of wrestling. 95% of it is dog shit.
Yeah, it's squash matches a lot.
Terrible. It's bad gimmicks. But what you remember is that 5%, which is like some of the most transcendent wrestling shit that's ever taken place.
Yeah.
It goes back to the people who talk about, you know, the good old days. We were talking about this earlier. Like, oh, music was so much better when I was growing up in the 70s. No, you just have forgotten the dog shit.
Yeah.
There was just as much dog shit music too, but you only remember the absolute top grade shit that came out. And you're using that to compare against today's dog shit. You know,
also, and like I think it's a valid point too, is like that comparison is what elevated the original thing. Cause like Rock Austin or something like that, because it's compared to a lot of the other shit that was around that time, it seemed like it was better than it. I don't say it's better than it was, but you know what I mean? Like it's higher, it's elevated higher because the other shit is so bad.
Yeah. Like that's part of it. And also it's always, these arguments are never done in good faith.
Yeah.
Because like I was just saying, like people will take the best of they'll take the Beatles and then try to compare it to a TikTok musician now and be like, see, wasn't music so much better? Well, yeah, if you compare the greatest band of that era against the dog shittiest thing you've seen now, of course you're gonna be like, yeah, the 60s wins. But like no, you got to take the top stuff and the top stuff. That's why, like, I always enjoy arguments like, you know, Jordan versus LeBron or whatever, because you're taking like the top stuff from both times. But it's like if you compare like LeBron to Luke Longley or whatever, you know, like to all the other guys, well, of course you're going to be like you got to have these like fair comparisons, or just don't even compare it at all. Like I'm always a proponent too of just like what you like, man. Like whatever it is. I don't care what it is. Just like what you like. If you hate the music of today and only want to listen to stuff from the 80s and 90s, that music exists, bro.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're making an all-female Ghostbusters. They didn't record over the original Ghostbusters, you motherfucker. You can still go watch that. Just don't watch the thing you're mad about. Yeah. Watch the thing you love. Like,
I will say, unironically, the weirdest part about that movie was the best part of it was Thor. Chris Hemsworth was hilarious in that Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah. I haven't seen it because I mean I don't care about. I'm
a completionist, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch all the Ghostbusters because I have to, because I'm a masochist.
But that's I never understand, and especially now that I'm 42, I'm a dad now. Like I don't have enough time in my day to love the things I love.
Yeah.
You know how many video games I own that I have not had a chance to take out of the shrink wrap
I see the
yet?
stack right there.
Yeah, I have no fucking time. Like But why would I go on the internet and talk about like, PlayStation is better than Xbox or Xbox? Who gives a shit?
That tribalism shit is toxic, man.
Just like the AEW sucks. No, WWE sucks. No, we're all fucking nerds. Nobody likes us. Just go watch your thing.
That's the thing. It's like I always like, we talked off camera about, Forbidden Doors tonight, time of recording. But like I'm an AEW guy. I'm also a WWE fan. I'm a wrestling fan. But at the same time, it's like I always configure like. We talked about, like, it's fun to compare LeBron with Michael. I think AEW and WWE have completely different philosophies, different companies, different structures, and it's like apples to oranges, in my opinion. Like, they're different philosophies of wrestling. So, like, you can like what you like, but I don't think they're a good, fair comparison.
Yeah. It's a weird human nature thing.
Yeah.
And not just talking about wrestling. It can be talking about anything where there's a lot of people who so deeply like the things that they like that if other people don't like them, they take it as a personal attack.
Yep.
And for me, I've never understood that because, like, man, I started watching pro wrestling, for instance, in 1993. 1993 to 1995 notoriously is one of the worst periods in wrestling history.
Facts.
All
hail King Mabel.
So I loved it so much, though, and none of my friends did, and people. Like, I never got made fun of that much because the first time people would try, I would just be like, I'm going to go watch it anyway. I don't care. Like, I don't care if you're like, so like, it's just enjoy your stuff, man.
Yeah.
And other people liking it or not liking it does not affect me.
Because
whatsoever.
I'll also say those same people that you brought up that are like, if you don't like this, they take it personally. They have this weird threshold where if too many people like it, then it's no longer good.
Yeah. I mean, you get that. You
hipster kind of shit.
Looking in your background, you're more of a comic book guy than I am.
Yeah.
But like, it's so gatekeepery.
Yeah.
With video games, you'll get that. It's always like, oh, you're a fake gamer girl. You don't actually like. Just like, man, let people into your hobby, man. Who gives a shit? The more people that you can still like what you like.
When I have this studio and I have people in studio and actually doing this stuff, like, we don't talk about this stuff hardly. Like, this is just background. This is my hobby. This is something I'm passionate about. I love this stuff. But what I've found is this is the best way to, like, break down that threshold of, like, strangers coming in here and talking because they have something to relate to. There's something in this room. They're like, oh, I remember that show. Oh, I remember that. And for like the first 10, 15 minutes, we're just chatting about that kind of stuff, pop culture. And they forget about the mics. They forget about the lights. They forget about the cameras. And we're just having a good conversation. And that's just how it happens. And like, it's kind of been a blessing in disguise. Like, I didn't really plan for that to happen. It was just kind of stuff to throw back out there that I'm, happy about, but it works. It actually does help the podcast.
Right. Yeah. And it helps the connection. And like, and for me, it also helps me understand the type of people I don't want to talk to. Like, there's plenty of stuff, man, that I hate.
Yeah.
That I can't fathom why anyone enjoys it how they do. But it doesn't affect me if you like it. It just really doesn't. Like I've never understood hardcore Star Wars fans, for instance. I don't care. Like, I've watched the movies. I enjoy them enough. Like, yes. This is.
I just have the Empire right here and the Rebel Alliance branded on my wrist.
This is my way of very gently telling you what a fucking loser you are, Jared.
Oh, you don't have to be gentle. You don't have to be gentle.
But like, like, I personally do not care. I've watched the movies. I've enjoyed them enough. I don't care about the lore. I don't have any care about, oh, this show is ruined. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But it also doesn't hurt me if you do.
Yeah.
And I don't get why people can't just and I would say this in all just walks of life. Just let people like what they like. Like, leave them alone. Like, because I've seen it the other way too. Like, I know nerds traditionally have gotten it worse.
Yeah.
Because like nerdy stuff in the past was a little bit more niche. I think it's become a little more acceptable in the grand scheme of things now.
Obviously.
But I'll see it the other way. I did, I'm a theater guy, and a lot of people in theater don't traditionally enjoy sports. That's just, not what they like.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that I'll see, like, who would be furious if you made fun of their stupid little theater shit, who will be like, oh, Oh, what is this? Some kind of Super Bowl? Is there a football game going on today? I didn't even know. It's like, shut up, you fuck. You got to let people like popular stuff too. Like, there's certain things you just have to accept that day is going to be really annoying for you.
It's like how many people in theater were probably annoyed when Book of Mormon and like things like Hamilton take off? And it's like, that's not regular Broadway. It's like,
like people get like. I think there's certain days of the year that you just have to accept are going to be a thing. And if you don't like that thing, like Super Bowl Sunday is a big deal.
Yeah.
If you don't care about football, you just have to accept that day is that's what that day is going to be about.
Yeah.
Like I said, I personally don't like Star Wars. I'm not going to, every May 4th, I'm not going to go on the internet and tell you how fucking stupid you guys are. I just have to accept that you guys
you're just saying it to yourself internally.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a thing that I fully advocate. Like,
and that's your right as an American.
Yeah, like I said, like I love pro wrestling. You can hate it as deeply as you want, but you also need to shut the fuck up around me, you know. And that's how I am with Star Wars Day. I do not care about it, but a lot of people love it.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be your day. May 4th is your day to do that. That's great.
Yeah.
March 10th is Mario Day. If you don't care about video games, that might be a little annoying for you. You get to shut the fuck up because it's a big deal for some people.
Well, it's like, I mean, hell, we had Thursday just now. We had the first debate between the two, you know, Trump and Biden. And I'm not getting political or anything like that, but like that was on simulcast like 10 different channels, and even like local channels. It's on everywhere. But if you don't want to watch that, well, there's YouTube, there's movies, there's cable. Like, there's other things you can go to and just completely avoid it if you didn't want to.
Yeah, but you also have to accept that like that's going to be the discourse for the day because like you like again, not getting political. I don't care who people like or want to vote for or not want to vote for or who thinks is stupid or not. Whatever, that's totally irrelevant. But like the debate's a big deal, and that's going to be the discourse of the day. You have to accept that Twitter might be annoying for you if you go on.
If you want to catch and understand those SNL skits that come out in 3 months, you're going to have to figure out and get with the current times. You know, if SNL picks it up on it, then it's in the pop culture landscape. It's like my mom didn't understand when they were doing House of Dragon skits with Dave Chappelle last year. And I was like, well, you got to watch House of the Dragon. Like,
yeah, that's on you. Like you can get the reference or not, you know, like.
This episode of Unloading Meat is not brought to you by your favorite language learning app such as Duolingo, but it could be. It really could be. Guys, Duolingo is amazing, and if you don't take your lessons, nothing will happen to my family, right? Duolingo, please. Guys, please use the app, please. I miss my kids. I miss my kids. So, man, like, where are you headed next on your tour? Are you home for a bit?
So like I said, we're going to Indiana for a couple weeks here. So again, I this may have already happened by the time that but I'm getting to do one of my weirder shows that I've gotten booked for.
Ooh.
So I'm doing on July 12th, I'm going to Bethel, New York. I'm performing at a music festival. Now keep in mind, I am not a musician.
Spoiler alert.
I do nothing music wise. But it's this cool record label. Let me see if I can find the exact name. I think it's called David's Music Festival or something like that.
I was gonna say, dude, you'd be a mean tambourine or like triangle. I think triangle.
I have played woodblock on a couple buddies' albums before, way back in the day. Let me see if I can find this here.
Maybe a train whistle. What about train whistle?
I could do that.
We need some more train whistle in modern music.
Basically, what this is, this group, they maybe 2-3 years ago, they formed a record label that specializes in musicians with disabilities.
Okay.
So like that's kind of what their thing is, and they're holding this big festival. I think I am told it's near or the same site that the original Woodstock was held.
Nice.
Which is just cool for like and again, I don't care about Woodstock from like a me person, but like there's certain history things that are just like cool to have like be in that spot, even if you don't like the thing in that way.
As long as it's not Woodstock 99.
Yeah, that or as I call it, the real Woodstock. That's the only one that matters. So they hired me. I'm doing like a 20-minute comedy, just show in there. And then immediately followed me is Jason Mraz. so I am opening for Jason. Like, and I like Jason Mraz. This is not a like oh, I can't believe it's Jason. I love Jason Mraz, but like
tone difference.
Yeah, but it's a very different like I'm glad to have the gig. I'm not upset, but I'm just like, man, I'm traditionally not who like you know what I wish I saw before the Jason Mraz concert? Ryan Niemiller telling dick jokes. I think that's what I would have liked. So
like, I hope you film or something like that. I just want to see like the transition from you to Jason Mraz.
Yeah. I don't know if it's gonna be that sudden, where like I don't think I'm bringing Jason
Oh,
Mraz
okay.
on stage or anything like that. I think I think I do
One could
my
hope.
set, and then they're gonna do like 30 minutes of setup to get him ready to go,
Yeah.
and then.
Didn't know if you're tag teaming it off. Like, here, Jason, take the mic.
but yeah. Comedy is weird, man. Like it's one of those situations. Like, and again, this is not me making. I'm super excited to do this.
Sure,
I think it's a cool thing that they're doing. I'm pumped, but like, when you want to do comedy, your brain is usually thinking like, okay, I'm gonna work comedy clubs. I might get to be on HBO or do the Tonight Show or get a Comedy Central thing. Like you think of these like traditional comedy spaces, but so much of the stuff I get booked is like, oh yeah, I'm weirdly doing a show where I'm opening for Jason Mraz. That's not what I would have thought 18 years ago when I first started doing open mics. That would, I mean, same thing when I did like Chris Jericho's cruise.
Yeah.
That's not what I thought my comedy career would be like. Oh yeah, I'm doing a wrestling and heavy metal cruise where I then get to tell dick jokes during it. It's very comedy's cool and weird.
How was that cruise, man? Let's talk about that a little bit. We can wrap up with there a little bit. Like, how was that? I know we talked on the last session a little bit about it. Like, but like just to recap, like, yeah, you were on the Chris Jericho cruise as a comedian, right?
Yes, I think 2021 or 2022. Time has no meaning the last several years. But yeah, so for anyone who's not familiar, when I did AGT, when you get in the finals, you get to have like they usually set up like a celebrity duet kind of thing. So if you're a singer, they'll bring in a famous singer and then you'll sing a song together or whatever. I had done a lot of pro wrestling kind of stuff, like I go by the Cripple Threat. I call my fans Club Nub. I was basically
Club Nub is amazing.
Oh, thank you. I was channeling pro wrestling stuff when I did it. Like all my entrances, I was trying to do like high energy, like what I didn't do the from the stage, but like one, I actually pulled my hamstring when I did this. It hurt a lot. But I was like trying to like basically mimic Rey Mysterio's entrance.
Oh,
where he kind of goes to one side and like points and like jumps up and points.
Oh, yeah.
And my calves and my hamstrings just locked the fuck up on live TV right before I was about to do my I think it was the semifinals. At the beginning of my set, I actually go, oh, I think I just pulled my hammy. Anyway, like because I literally did. Like I was like stuck in place. I was scared I wasn't gonna get off stage.
That was your Vince McMahon Royal Rumble moment.
Basically, I was like, oh, did I just tear both of my quads?
Batista, restart it.
and I have to sit here on my ass and just tell jokes. But so for the finals, like they had asked me, like if there was any wrestler that you could, do something with, and they didn't really tell me the full content. I assumed it was something for the finals, but they didn't really tell me what they were thinking. What it was, and I was like, oh, like this wrestler, but my all-time favorite is Chris Jericho, which is, it's the truth. He's one of the. I'll tell the short story of this. So he has a pretty famous debut, if you know wrestling at all. His countdown clock debut for WWF during the Monday Night Wars when he jumped over is one of the most iconic, debuts in a new promotion ever. Yeah. And I was in the building.
Oh, wow. That.
Yeah, it was accidental. So we grew up poor, but like I grew up maybe like an hour and a half from Chicago. So basically a Christmas / birthday present every year when I was really into wrestling was I get to go to like one wrestling show a year. And that Monday Night Raw was being held in the Rosemont Horizon at the time. It's Allstate Arena now, but in Rosemont, Illinois. So I drove up there. It happened to be the countdown clock. There was rumors that it was going to be Jericho. It ended up being him. It's still, I get goosebumps still thinking about it. Like the crowd reaction, it made me go. Now, I thought I was going to be a pro wrestler. That didn't obviously pan out for me, but that's the moment that made me go like, I want to be able to give other people this experience, like this feeling.
That's that silver unbuttoned shirt, and
Yeah.
the top knot.
His little
interrupting the Rock.
when the Rock was gonna, So,
I mean, he got to interrupt the Rock on his opening night.
yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So, so I told them, like, Jericho, and at the time, like, this is getting into the weeds. This is stuff that I understand as a huge wrestling nerd.
Yeah.
But, and I even explained this to the people at AGT. I was like, my favorite would be Chris Jericho, but I don't think, like, you might not be able to have him because he's with AEW. I know WWE has TV deals with NBC Universal.
Yeah.
So I gave a couple of WWE names as well. But
Mark.
I guess they,
No.
yeah. Well, like I'm thinking from a if you're super into wrestling, you know about TV deals and you know about this shit that other people don't care about.
This forbidden door bullshit.
Yeah, like you know about like why there might be potential issues, and I thought like, oh, he's on that NBC Universals with WWE through various
smart.
things.
It's very smart thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. But they got Jericho, so I guess originally they were thinking about like, and this would never work, but AGT doesn't know this. They don't know about how wrestling works. I guess they also wanted to have The Miz on there and do something with The Miz and Jericho.
Oh,
but I like that doesn't work with AEW and W. Like we know that, but I think they were kind of talking about it. And Jericho, I think, because Jericho was my first choice, and it would have been cool to meet The Miz. I like The Miz. He's not my all-time favorite, but like I would not have been mad if I did something with The Miz. Like that would have been cool.
The dude landed Maurice. Okay, he's got something.
We could get deep into this, but like the Miz is somebody I deeply respect. Like his act might be a little old now, and it might be, but like it's a dude who was just a nerdy kid from Cleveland who got to do the real world, who clearly loved pro wrestling. It's not like it's a fake thing. Who went from being basically an annoying piece of shit kid to becoming like a well-respected, like he seems like a really good dude.
Main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah, like he knows who he is. Like he seems like a good guy. He's very safe. Like he's had himself a great career when by all metrics, that dude should have never gotten a shot to begin with.
Well, do you blame the talent or do you blame the booker? I mean, at the same time, it's like you could see the talent. Like, I mean, there's several people in both companies that you can just tell that, I don't want to say held down or held back, but it's obvious. I mean, the booker just didn't see something in them. Yeah. Or didn't like him in that spot. I mean, it just happens. It's unfortunate.
Stuff goes that way. And that's but they got Jericho and he agreed to be my my celebrity duet partner or whatever. and because comedy is weird. You can't like go on stage and like tell jokes it doesn't work that way. So we filmed a little wrestling sketch, where he went to like my buddy Peter Avalon, who if you're an AEW guy, know.
Librarian.
Old Pretty Pete. So I've known him for years. When I trained to be a wrestler for about 2 months, a real short amount of time, he was in my training class. So I've known him forever. Like we're really good friends. I wanted him to be on the show.
That's pretty cool.
I wanted him to be one of the guys. He was working out of town that time, but he helped us get the ring secured and all that kind of stuff. So Jericho comes in, we filmed this sketch. We hit it off. Because he was very much like he was smart about it. AGT had kind of written some stuff, and Jericho is like, how about you just let me and Ryan do this? Like we'll get the general point that you want, but let us do it. Because he made a good point, and you're a wrestling fan. Non-wrestling people trying to write wrestling is terrible, because they don't get, because wrestling's dumb and weird. It just is.
Yeah.
And when you have people who think it's like, they think it's dumb and weird for different reasons than it actually is. So it's like you kind of have to understand what it is to write a sketch about it or do something with it.
Yeah, they bring their own projections to it, and it always just comes off like that. It's not genuine.
Yeah, exactly. So Chris was like, hey, we'll get the general premise of what you want, but just let Ryan and I improv. Let's let us kind of get there ourselves, and then like trust me, it'll work better. So we filmed these things, like the general concept of the sketch was like, I've always wanted to be a wrestler, and Jericho is my favorite, and he's gonna, he's coming in to help me learn some of the stuff to potentially wrestle one day. So he's focusing on stuff like promos, so we do a little thing where like, I'm trash talking, they have like this like boxing dummy kind of thing, like a kickboxing dummy. Mm-hmm. And like Jericho's like, I want you to trash talk him. So I'm making some like lame attempts at it at first where I'm like, you're a dummy. You know, I'm like making like stupid jokes. And
Don't
he's like,
sugarcoat it, Ryan. Tell us how you really feel.
he's like, no, I think you're a dummy because you're really starting to bother me. So Chris is going to me. And then like, you know, the end of that bit is he like, I think I know what'll help. And he puts a picture of Simon Cowell's face on it. And so now I'm yelling at like, you know, Simon Cowell, this is, you know, you're making it so stressful. And it's, you know, I'm doing all this stuff. So like, that's the sketch, you know, like it's funny. It ends on a pretty serious note, which is kind of funny. Cause like, I like the general, like at the end, like he's teaching me all this other stuff. And I'm like, but I thought you were going to teach me to wrestle. Like, I think I'm ready. And they had 2 other wrestlers there kind of like helping with stuff. And he's like, no, like it takes like several years of training. Like it's very dangerous. I'm like, no, I think I understand. I think I got this. And I took one of the other wrestlers. His name's Che Cabrera. He's a Stella. He wrestles he's part of the Wolf Zaddies.
Oh, okay.
He's a really great dude. He cleaned my fucking clock though. So the general end premise of the sketch, we're getting way too deep into this, I thought, but I love telling the story. The end premise of the sketch was, you know, I'm ready to be a wrestler. Like, see, I think I could figure this out. And, you know, I pulled Shay over. His other nickname is Latino Meat, to give you an idea, which he has like plastered on his ass during this. You know, so I give him a couple pushes. I'm like, yeah, like I'll push him. I think I can do this. Then I'm gonna hit the ropes. So I hit the ropes. And I come back, and then he nails me with a forearm.
Oh shit!
And they play it off like, oh, this wasn't supposed to happen. Like this is, you know, serious. So I get knocked down in the corner. Like they have like a medic come out and check me. And then like, you know, Jericho's talking to the producer, like, you know, like I feel responsible. He got hurt. And then I kind of like look up and catch Chris's eye. And Chris is like, and I get up, I give him a corner splash, like I give Latino Meat a corner splash, pin him, Jericho does the count, being excited, whatever. When we actually did it, so like, I have trained wrestling a little bit. I'm not going to claim that I'm, you know, but I have done the training a little bit. So we're walking through taking the forearm, and during it, you know, like Che is great. He hits me with a couple of, like, we practiced a couple times just to make sure that I hit it right. I end up in the right spot. Everything's great. He's fantastic with it. When we're actually filming, I think adrenaline got to him, and he fucking rocked me. Like he nailed me with a forearm, made my glasses fly off my head. Luckily, he hit me so hard, he knocked me into the place that I needed to be by accident.
That's a professional.
So, yeah, he was very good. And luckily, just the way they filmed it, because like I can't see without my glasses. Like I'm very blind without them. I was able to grab my glasses and get them back on my face before the camera saw me do that. Yeah, he totally did. And then we filmed it, but yeah, he crushed me, dude. He just destroyed my jaw with that. So the sketch, like they aired it. It was pretty well received because it was something a little bit different than they normally do for these performances. It was a lot of fun. The AGT people loved it, but Chris and I, we just hit it off during that. You know, we traded. You know, he gave me his phone number. And he's like, hey, you know, like in the future, if you ever need anything, let me know. We'll do this. A couple months after that, I was down in Tampa, which is where he lives. I was working comedy club there. I had Thanksgiving at his house just because I was there for Thanksgiving dinner. He's like, you got anywhere to go? And I was like, no, I'm just kind of, you know, working down here. He's like, well, you know, come on over. We'll take care of you.
That's awesome.
So did that. He's a super good dude. And then part of that is because we connected so well. He asked me to come do the cruise as well, be one of the comics for that. So cruise was fun. That was a long way to get to saying the cruise was fun.
Was that one of the cruises that was filmed for AEW, or was that after? It was like the year after.
I think it was. I think I technically did this. It was the second or third one.
Okay.
So the first one was not AEW. Like it had like TNA guys. It had whatever. So they filmed the stuff for AEW. I think this actually would have been the third one because I know for one of them they had like a tag title change. I think
it was the Hangman. Omega one. Yeah, the second one.
Beat Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, who's an old buddy of mine.
Nice.
Kaz is a friend of mine now too. He's a dick, but in a good way. He's
in NXT right now, man. He's NXT crossing over.
Yeah. He's Kaz is fun. He's a no nonsense dude, but he's like, you know, like it was funny. So like we got along on the cruise fine, but he's not like necessarily the most like jovial, joking, friendly kind of guy. It's just not who he is as a person.
Yeah.
But I went to so they were taping Championship Wrestling from Hollywood at the Irvine Improv. and Peter Avalon and my buddy Johnny LaQuasto are a big part of that. So I just went to go hang out one day, and Kaz was on the show, and I never felt cooler in the dorkiest way in my life. I was just, like, he saw me, he was like, we were just catching up a little bit. He's like, "Yeah, you been, man?" I'm like, "I'm just, I'm on the road a lot." He's like, "Just making towns." I was like, "Yeah, making towns." That's what we do. But the crew, I think they filmed it. Nothing actually got aired on. So this was the cruise that it was before Danhausen got signed. So he was one of the special guests. It's where the whole Assboys thing started.
Yeah. That's what I'm about to say. Yeah.
He almost didn't do that, like, because when he was doing that comedy show, like, he was talking to like me and Brad Williams, who were two of the other comics on there. He like wanted some advice, like, "Do you think this is funny?" I was talking, it's Mr. Ass, and I'll refer to him as Rod and Todd Ass. Like the Ass. He's like, "Do you think that's gonna be too far?" I'm like, "I think that's really funny. I think that'll," because he was worried that Billy Gunn was gonna, because Billy Gunn's another guy who has a reputation of not thinking anything is humorous ever.
Yeah.
But so
kind of like Mr. Ass. That's
yeah. So that and that went over big, like that, like how something from like just the cruise that only people on the cruise saw became this like actual thing was very cool.
It was a wrestling hawk tour.
Yeah, basically, yeah, it was very similar. And then that was also, he hadn't signed yet, or I think he was hurt at the time, so he wasn't gonna wrestle. But Will Ospreay was on there as well.
Oh, nice.
Who I get along with Will great. I wouldn't say we're like best buddies, but like we were very friendly on there. He's a weird dude, man. he's a weird dude. Like we were Brad and I were very worried about him at one point. So like we're just watching the matches, and since we were kind of we're talent on the ship, we can kind of watch it from like the back. We're kind of like on this back area, watching. And Will is just sitting there. He's watching stuff, and he had been drinking a little bit. He's been enjoying the cruise, and we're kind of watching the matches. And suddenly, like, we realize, like, where'd Will go? Where the fuck is Will? So we're like, we're kind of worried, because like
aging Will Ospreay.
Yeah, basically, like he's like he wasn't like plastered drunk, but just drunk enough where he might make some dumb decisions. Like,
were you just out there like playing a game of bruv polo, like bruv?
Yeah. We think
polo.
Like something could happen. And so he's gone for like 10-15 minutes, and we're kind of like, we're still watching the matches, but we're like, okay, should we fucking go look for Will? Like, what the hell happened? And then suddenly he just reappears, and he has 2 things of ice cream in his hands. Like, he was just like, I wanted to get some ice cream, bro. And I was like, all right, man. It was very weird. It was funny and weird, because we were genuinely, for a small amount of time, like, okay, is he okay? Like, it was weird, because he just left without telling anyone. Like, no one knew. He just came back.
Aerial assassin, man.
Yeah, he's just double fisting ice cream cones. He just really wanted ice cream.
His one cheat day.
Yeah,
we can round back to TikTok. We can go back to Will Ospreay on TikTok a little bit. Like, I remember his famous video right after he got that tattoo after the Wembley match, where he got the coordinates and like the dates of him and Jericho doing the Wembley match, and like the final attendance of the Wembley All In, and like it was like his big tattoo. It's on his arm, I think, it's on his arm. Yeah. And then there was all those disputes about the final like ticket count with Tony Khan and All In. So like there's just TikTok where like they're telling Will Ospreay, and he's just like, fuck. Yeah. Like, he finally waited this whole time to get a tattoo, gets it perfect, and even the coordinates are perfect of where the match was in Wembley. And it's like, well, the number's off.
Yeah,
son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's yeah. Maybe you wait 6 months, Will. That's all I'm saying. All right, we should probably wrap this up. I gotta get the boy.
Well, dude, Ryan, thank you so much for doing this again, especially for the makeup, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We'll see. This one was okay. We'll see. I try. I mean, I guess whatever.
Hey, dude, we got some stuff out here. I think we got some good content, man. Especially the Will Ospreay story at the end. That's great.
Oh yeah, it was very Will's a good dude and a weird dude. Just everybody keep that in mind.
Well, Ryan, man, where can everybody find the great Ryan Niemiller?
CrippleThreat.com is my website. Has all my my tour dates. Still filling up the rest of the year, but I'll be kind of all over the place. And then Cripple Threat 8 on everything. So that's my social media. So Instagram. I refuse to call it X. So Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Twitch. I'm hoping to do some Twitch streaming again soon. To take advantage of all this nerddom that I have in here. So just follow me on stuff and say hello. It's me that runs everything. I don't have a social media manager or any of that. So as you know, that's how you found me. Was just
hey man, I'm grateful for it, reaching out, especially twice through this. And dude, I'm ultra grateful for taking the time out of your day especially with the new kid, and just gracing us with your presence, man, on Unloading Meat.
Absolutely. I'll do anything for meat.
Yeah.
I'll beat up Latino meat. I'll unload meat with you. You
Yeah.
know how it is.
Consensually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, Jared.
Later,
Thank you so
man.
much.
Take care, man.
Unloading the meat. 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 I don't even know what it means, what it is, what it is, what it is.
Bye. Have a great time.